Break. It's nice to see you all. My name is Dominika Mroczkowska-Rusiniak and I'm the jury member. This year I have a great pleasure of introducing our next panelist, Kristi Pazzi, the head of Kalamaja Museum, a branch of the Tallinn City Museum. Last year, the museum won the Siletto Prize for Community Participation and Engagement Award. This award, sponsored by the Siletto Trust, celebrates a deep, continuous and empowering involvement between the museum and its stakeholders. It places the museum as a point of orientation and reference at the center of its communities, whether local, national, global, or otherwise defined. The Kalamaja Museum, with its unique approach, has been recognized for the jury for its empowering activities. The museum actively listens, enables, and cares, encouraging residents to participate and create exhibitions, tours, and events. It is a museum of action, a constant change, with a clear agenda. Residents in the spotlight. But who was behind the community-driven museum concept and gave their hearts to creating it? The fabulous trio, Kristi Pazzi, Tuli Silber, and Laura Jamsia. Their and other staff members' dedication and openness to communities' ideas foster a strong bond of trust and mutual respect, positively impacting the museum activities. As a judge, I had the pleasure of visiting the museum 2 years ago. I was warmly welcomed by the staff, a few members of Kalamaja district in the cozy kitchen, the heart of the museum. Later, Kristi Pazzi and Andres Siplane, a museum friend, took me around the district. To my no surprise, we were greeted warmly by every single passerby, and I'm pretty sure that the museum did not direct it. It only showcases the spirit of Kalamaja and how connected everyone is. Anyway, I don't want to take much of your time. Please welcome Kristi Pazzi. Kristi, the floor is yours.
Hello, I'm Kristi. I'm coming from the Kalamaja Museum. And that Dominika didn't say, what means Kalamaja? Do you know? Kalamaja in English means fish house or fish village, that you know right now. So our museum is located in Tallinn, in our capital city, and the Kalamaja Museum is a part of Tallinn City Museum, and City Museum contains 7 branches all over Tallinn. And this first slide, here you can see the Siletto Award, held by our youngest community members. And they are very proud that their own museum won that kind of prize. What happened? It was a very nice surprise for them too. But now I'm asking you to come to Kalamaja with me. Please, the video.
Kalamaja Museum is located in Tallinn, Estonia, in one of the oldest suburbs of Tallinn. Since the very first moment, the Kalamaja Community Museum has been a joint project with the people of the area. Such method of creating a museum is unique in Estonia. The process started in the spring of 2018 with a survey conducted among locals, which revealed that people are interested in hearing stories about the past, the present and the future, and they would like a nice place where the community could meet. This was followed by brainstorming, meetings and interviews with both former and current residents of Kalamaja. These laid the basis for the concept and the permanent exhibition of the museum. Tens of former and current residents of Kalamaja have participated in the setting up of the exhibition by donating items and sharing their memories of life in Kalamaja. collaboration with the community continues on a daily basis through different events, exhibitions and activities. For example, everyone is welcome to join cooking events and tours of the area led by locals, and the former and current residents are also involved in the creation of different exhibitions, both inside the museum building and around Kalamaja. Community is at the heart of everything we do.
Thank you. And right here, you can see our community members with the Siletto Prize that they are very proud of. It has been an incredible year. Our visitor numbers has grown 40%. And we have, very nice. Of course, tourists have found Kalamaja Museum, and the locals also, who didn't know the museum is around the corner. Now they know. And we have been invited as a museum staff and, of course, our community members to share our experience for community work and museum work all across Estonia, Europe, and, of course, around the world. Our people in community members have gained a valuable experience and powerful sense that their own created museum is the best in Europe. And I can tell this feeling is amazing. Of course, when we had this Siletto Award, we had a big party. But our museum and our kitchen is so small. So we had a party in a very early morning till like a very in the evening. So we had this all day long celebrations, and of course with a very nice cake or 2 cakes, because we had this festival day. And on the cake is written, Kalamaja on Euroopa parim. That means Kalamaja is Europeans' best. So it's very important for the community members. They're truly honored about that. And now I'm taking back you to the history, why we are the Europeans' best 2024. Because the Kalamaja Museum was created by the people, the idea came from the community. They told the stories, they donated the objects, and here you can see some of our, how we getting involved people to the museum work, some methods. Of course, these methods we used when we created the museum, and till today we are using them, and many, many more methods, of course. And here you can see also our community members. They are now like our colleagues. And Kalamaja Museum came to life because our people opened their hearts and their doors to us. And we collected from the people, piece by piece, the museum objects, what we have in the museum right now, and they also donated objects to the museums with their significant stories of this area. And of course, they asked us to come to their attics and rooftops and basements to gather something for the museum. They asked if we want to come and see what they have. So in that time, we didn't know how our work day ends. Here is me with a rat's mummy. I didn't know in the morning I had rat's mummy in my hands in the evening. So just such a crazy journey. And we even handed over the power to the locals to choose a museum, like a visual identity or logo, because this is their museum. They should choose which kind of visual identity they want to have. So they choose we had 4 variants that they can vote it for in the front of our house, and of course in the internet, in the Facebook, etc., etc. And what they voted was Kalamaja museums, like written through fish eye perspective. And now you know that the Kalamaja means the fish village or fish house. So it's like that, and it's our logo today. And now I can show you some nice things that we have done last year, some of our projects and exhibitions. As a community museum, the Kalamaja Museum has carried out several projects on the streets of the neighborhood. This year as well, we collaborated with the community to create several outdoor exhibitions. Kalamaja is rapidly changing and developing urban area, and therefore the local expressed a wish for exhibition about the places in the area that have changed or disappeared over time. And we opened this exhibition last week, so it's a very new exhibition. And also, last year, what we did, we opened Estonia's smallest museum. This is located in a phone booth on the newly renovated main street of Kalamaja. And the museum is open 24/7, of course, and accessible to everyone. You can step inside the telephone booth, take the telephone and listen to the stories told by local people who lived or still living on the street or in the area. And these stories are told by their own, and you can listen to local people's voices through the phone. And Estonia's smallest museum has proven to be incredibly popular. And more outdoor exhibitions and collaborations. We continue to carry out many different projects and exhibitions in the public space in collaboration with local youth centers or organizations, of course, schools. Here you can see our latest collaborative exhibition on the fence of a local school. This year in Estonia is a year of the book, marking 500 years since the first book in Estonia was published in Estonian. To celebrate it in Kalamaja, the children from the local school drew the covers of their favorite books today on the school fence. And the museum collected stories from the older community members about their favorite books in their childhood, And here you can see two elderly ladies who were in that school when they were 8 or 7 years old. So it's a also very new exhibition in Kalamaja. And of course, what kind of community museum would we be if we weren't present in people's homes? Idea for these home museums came from the local family, saying that they knew very, very little of the history and stories of their house. You can see this house here. And this house was built in 1930s, very nice house. And they asked to us, from the Kalamaja Museum, to create exhibition for collaboration with people who are living in this house, and the exhibition should be in their hallway. Of course, we said, yes, let's do it. Today, several houses in Kalamaja already have their own charming house exhibitions. It's a good idea for everywhere, for everybody. And this is also a very lovely project involving transforming a very run-down building in Kalamaja into a true work of art together with the local community. The local residents took part of the workshop where they crafted little blue fishes. Blue fishes and for the mural. And in collaboration with a local artist, the mural was brought in life. There is now 14 houses of Kalamaja. They are still standing around Kalamaja in the mural right now. It's the best artwork in Kalamaja. It's quite new also. But this isn't all. The biggest project of last year what we are doing was a local cookbook in collaboration with a local community. The Kalamaja Museum was established. The locals wanted to have this kitchen and where to come together. And over the past 3 years, we hosted cooking evenings. And from there, the idea for the cookbook came to life. We have these 28 recipes from the 17 authors. So it's a very new and a nice book also. And all of these recipes are coming from local people. After several years, once again, we launched the project together with the Tallinn city to document important places and the people who were living in our area. Here you can see memory plates, what we have put out in the streets and in the houses. And of course, storytelling nights, where senior members of a community came together to tell the stories about their lives in the childhood in Kalamaja, get together today telling their stories. And in the end of every evening, the participants choose one story which a local artist then turns into illustrations. And everyone can read the stories and see the illustrations on our website. And we have many community nights, but we had this last year community night where local ladies came together to tailor flags for the local community days. And the flags, they're all over 300 and more meters right now. This was a very nice project also. And what we do every year, what is very important to us, to send Christmas cards. For our community member, partner, this is our way to say thank you, come to the museum. The museum is a great place to come, and we care. It's very important to us to show them that please come, we are waiting. And last photo, through the air, we have many important guests. We have had even one family member of the Sileto family was coming to Kalamaja Museum. This was true honor. But in this picture, you can see President of the Republic of Estonia and the First Lady enjoying and having fun in Kalamaja Museum. Thank you.
Good afternoon. What an inspiring start in this afternoon. Thank you so much to Kalamaja. It's wonderful. Welcome in the Podlaska Opera and Orchestra. Maybe you never looked, you always look to the stage, but please look once to the ceiling. Can you see the mirrors up there? There are mirrors, hanging mirrors, to moderate the good sound in this space, because it's not a conference venue, it's an opera, it's a music room, it's a room to celebrate the power of music. And I think that's the best environment for the next panel about enhancing immersive museum experience. It's about immersion, it's about emotions, and it's about the power of music. 4 institutions are music institutions. The 5th one, the 3 and the 4th one is in a similar category. You will discover it afterwards. Please welcome our panelists on stage. Please come. I will present them. Maria Floru, Director of the Maria Callas Museum in Athens. Then Martin Horn, Director of the House of Music, Budapest. Jörg Etreiber, Director of Salon Stolz from Graz. Mats Runge, Director of the Carl Nielsen Museum, Odense, Denmark. And Jolanda van den Berg, Curator of the Miffy Museum in Utrecht. I think, Maria, you start the presentation and then you have the discussion.
Hello, everyone. Okay. On behalf of our entire team in the Maria Callas Museum and Niovi Andrioti, the collection manager of the museum, I would like to congratulate the organization of the European Museum Forum for this inspiring event, and of course to thank you all for giving us the opportunity to be part of this. The museum's main mission is the preservation, enrichment, interpretation and promotion of the art, technique and personality of Maria Callas, and we also encourage partnerships with the aim of inclusion and social integration, but most of all, we want to make the opera known to those who are not familiar with it. The immersive experience for the visitor at the Maria Callas Museum begins when they enter the elevator at the ground floor. There, they will listen to Callas speaking for the first time in Greek. When they get out of the elevator, there is an opera glossary. If someone uses the QR codes, we'll listen to audio samples of a soprano, a mezzo-soprano, and so on, and learn about opera terms. This is an educational and engaging way to explore the opera world. Then the visitor enters 4 thematic rooms in order to meet Maria Callas. The first dark room, dedicated to the lyric tragedy of Norma, is a sensory journey. It is about the night scene where Norma sings to the moon goddess. You can observe
different characteristics in the room, such as the cherry trees, real cherry trees, the shadow theater techniques, and others, and all of those characteristics aim to invite visitors to feel the opera's emotional depth. The second room, Tosca, as you can see, is dressed in with carefully chosen props, all in red. It is inspired by Callas' performance in 1964 at Covent Garden. The scenery invites visitors to feel the period environment. At the heart of the space, there is a projection of Maria Callas performing Visi d'arte. Her voice fills the room, and her image holds our attention. Inside the next underlit blue room, La Traviata, the visitor enters, and it is designed and built as a theatrical set. The sound of Sempre Libera here fills the air and affecting visitors in a vibrant rhythm. A video wall projection inspired by 18th century Paris creates the illusion of a real window, and the visitors feel like they are in a real bedroom, the bedroom of the protagonist. In the final room is dedicated to a series of masterclasses that Callas gave in the 1970s in New York. The visitors are transported into a room that feels like a real studio. There is a central projection of Callas as a teacher dominating the room, and monitors display audiovisual material of Callas teaching. Her voice, again, is guiding the experience. On the other side of the room, there are screens that present Callas in 3 famous recitals. On the ground floor, on the first floor, the visitor may follow a chronological narrative. The texts are minimal. The story is told through the words of Callas herself and those who knew her. There is a combination of artifacts, interviews, photographs, and so on, which are all facilitated by interactive technologies, such as touchscreens, sound domes connected to video, headphones, and we also use drawers and flap labels and moving portraits to help the audience engage. And moreover, we use codes, QR codes, and tactile folders. To conclude, we have created a multisensory environment that affects visitors. The audiovisual material can complement and deepen the meaning of traditional artifacts. Through the use of sound, light, tactile elements, and digital interactivity, the museum offers a unique and interesting journey. And all this help us get better with surveys. But sometimes we think that the sensory environment can be overwhelming for some of us and may create barriers for individuals. Let's think of underlit rooms. The museum is using technology that creates a constant need for maintenance, updates, and costs. These challenges are not unique to this museum, and they reflect the growing need of immersive design in other institutions as well. But we keep in mind that a critical balance must be maintained. A balance between innovation and accessibility, between spectacle and substance. Finally, we at the Maria Callas Museum believe that immersive design not only improves engagement, but also connects us perfectly with history, art, and human stories. And you can see our video. It's only 30 seconds. Thank you for your time and your attention.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me and us, the House of Hungarian Music, and I'm really happy that many music museums attending this conference and award, because we sometimes forget that music is also an UNESCO World Heritage, and it's important to talk about music as well. And I traveled back time about 10 years ago when we started this project, and we really wanted to have a community space. And why is quite interesting, because it's located in a park. And it's not just one museum, but it's a new museum district in Budapest. We have fellow colleagues even here from other museums around us. So we started to work to make a new park, refurbishment of the park, and have new spaces around the park and within the park. Why I'm saying that? Because this guy on the picture, So Fujimoto, he's a Japanese architect, and we had an architectural competition. Over 150 applicants we had in the competition, and we chose his work because we wanted to have a community space which is communicating with the environment. Why we choose this building is that he was really focusing on breaking down the barriers, the borders between the built architecture and the nature. So we have many spaces in between spaces where what we can use along the summer, outdoor stages, and we have many installations around the house, and we have a playground for families and kids. So we kind of using not only the house, but all the surrounding of the house. We have overall 100 light wells. They bring the light into the house, so you kind of have the feeling when you're arriving to the house that you're still under the canopy of the trees. So it's really inviting the people. So we have most of our visitors not only coming to the house, but also coming to the park, have leisure activities, and after they just enter and maybe come for a concert. Most of our concerts around the house are free, so we have young musicians playing in the nice time of the weather. But the other unique things in the house is that we have 3 layers, so we are not only a museum and exhibition space, but also using the other tools to bring people in and invite them through music. The ground floor, we're focusing on concerts, and on the top floor, in this mushroom shape, we have music education, and we try to bring together these 3 layers through music education in the everyday work. On the permanent exhibition, so this is the level of the underground level. We have the exhibition level. We have a permanent exhibition space, and here we're focusing on European music history, highlighted with Hungarian content. It's an audio system exhibition, so it's really hard, and probably we will talk about that later, that really hard to talk about music because you don't need to talk about music most of the time, you need to listen. And this is the exhibition that you have a headset and tracking your position, and all the music-related content and narration is running through the headset, so you can kind of interact with all the instruments and all the other instruments within the exhibition. The other space, we have a temporary exhibition space, which is really important for us because in the permanent exhibition we can highlight some important issues, but here we can add through music some other social issues. For example, here you can see 3 of our temporary exhibitions. The first one was talking about pop music in the communist period. The second one was focusing on the women. That was a traveling exhibition from the VND, Victor and Albert Museum from London. In that year, we were focusing, it was the last year, we were focusing on women artists, so that's why we invited the Diva. And the third one is recently on, it's called the Listen exhibition. It's focusing on traditional music. We traveled with an American co-production to 32 countries, trying to show the diversity of traditional music all over the world. And also we can focus on not just diversity, but migration through music. So there is a lot of tools through music that you can communicate other topics as well. We have a sound dome. This is a 360 space. We can project and also have 40 speakers, so we have many sound installations. This, for example, you can see right now is on sustainability, and we had a French and a Canadian artists as well, apart to Hungarian artists. And we have a karate sound space. It's a space for try out instruments, different instruments, and most of us probably cannot play, for example, the piano or a violin. So we invented different new instruments to all the people can try out how to play music in this space, and we have a lot of educational program as well. And we have, I already mentioned, an open-air stage, what we use all summer. Finally, the education and outreach program. So as I mentioned, we have this 3-layer, and the way we connect these 3 layers is through music education. So, for example, when we have a group of kids or a class arrives to the house, they most of the time start in a classroom and do some workshops, but after they always go to one of the exhibition spaces to discover. Sometimes they have group works and sometimes they work together, and at the end we always have live music sessions, so they can actually meet with music in real time. And because we don't have a huge collection, that's important to say, but we collect the sound, we collect the music. So we have over 16,000 soundtracks in our library, and this library is not only a library but also a space to play these kind of music and invite civil ideas here and have a club at the same time. And I have a short video.
Martin, could we skip the video because we need too much time,
all right.
And there will be possibilities to see it. Okay, thank you.
Hello, everybody. First of all, I would like to say that a great honor for us, and with us I mean also my colleagues Gerlinde and Claudia, to be here, and it's really a great experience and wonderful discussion with your colleagues here. Let me introduce the Salon Stolz and explain which format or which area in the Salon Stolz makes it a very immersive experience. But first, a few words about the Salon Stolz in general. The Salon Stolz is a place for the composer and conductor Robert Stolz, who was born in Graz. He lived from 1880 to 75, and he is famous for his Venice waltz, his operettes, and also his touching, rewarding melodies, which are still very well known today. The very special thing is the Salon Stolz is part of a retirement home that makes it a very special place. This location gave rise to the idea of making this project completely inclusive, cross-generational, and also accessible to all people. Well, we didn't want to put Robert Stolz music in display cases or letters and photos. Rather, we wanted to make his music accessible to everybody. This is how Salon Stolz became a place with different museum strategies, but also a place of a very welcoming culture. The Salon Stolz is not an ordinary museum, it's a place that invites people to come together with music and dance with themselves and their own creativity and with other people. So let's have a short look around in the salon. This is the entrance area. Here you can meet Robert Stolz first time. You can hear his melodies, you can see them, but you can also touch them in large notes. Then there is the study room. This is the more or less most classic museum-like area in the salon where you have display cases with just a few original objects. Then there is the music pavilion where you can find seven interactive music tables with simple interactive games that can be played by everyone together. And here you can experiment with music, you can compose, and you can also combine. Then there's the stage of life. There is Robert Stolz tells of his work as a conductor and a composer in a radio play lasting about 15 minutes together with his piano and some other instruments. But finally, there is the dance hall, where the dance show Melodia is running. It's in the centerpiece of our saloon, and it's a very good example of an immersive experience that I would like now to explain a little bit more. Melodia is a dance theater for amazement and participation. Two dancers tell a fantastic story about Robert Stolz's childhood in Graz. The dance floor is a projection surface, a white dance floor on which images are projected. These images can be changed by the two dancers and also by the audience. So for certain scenes, the dancers invite the people, the families, children, to the dance floor and support them to emotional access to the music. With Melodia, we created danceable emotions and thus make the music of Robert Stolz really accessible to everyone in a very special way. You can dance to it, you can influence the images and the music, and you can make your own movements listen to the music. But it is also a very good example of how immersive experience can even more intense if they are completed with real people like our two dancers. And Melodia is also accompanied by sign language. In addition there, it's also an option for people without hearing to put a radio-controlled vibrating waistcoat, and so they can feel the music on their body and they can also dance. And that you get an idea what it is, I will show you now a short video.
Yes, I would also like to thank the organizers for a beautiful conference. The content of the Carl Nielsen Museum is created by Museum Odense in cooperation with the University of Copenhagen and the research project Carl Nielsen, a European composer, and Event Communications, London. Traditionally, Carl Nielsen, the most celebrated Danish composer, has been considered a composer of national interest. Recent research has placed Carl Nielsen in a much wider context, and therefore the museum presents Carl Nielsen as a European composer whose work reflects wider trends and dynamics that shaped the continent in the beginning of the 20th century. Contrary to other composer museums, we let Carl Nielsen tell his story through the music. A piano, a piece of sheet music, a notebook are silent, dead things the composer touched many years ago. They can only support a story, not tell it. The music, on the other hand, is alive, often activated by the visitors. The tools to tell Nielsen's story need to work with the immaterial nature of sound. Digital tools are masterfully used by contemporary digital artists to create an entirely immersive and interactive experience. The result is an exhibition in every aspect inspired by music and the playfulness and elements of surprise that imbue Nielsen's work. The materiality of the space is influenced by musical instruments. The typography draws inspiration from the delicate curves and stamps of musical notation. Each of the set works is designed to express the meaning of the music it displays. The Carl Nielsen exhibition does have around 50 original objects from the museum's collection, but still all the stories on display must be introduced, illustrated and supported by music. The objects are the highlights that help ground and focus the narrative, giving a touch of authenticity but also intimacy to the overall plot. The museum has 3 major sections. In the first section, Funen, Copenhagen, Europe, you can listen to the sounds that filled Nielsen's world and see glimpses of places and people that inspired his creativity. We know that many visitors need some kind of introduction before they plunge straight into Nielsen's music. Therefore, we start the exhibition with a priming experience to introduce the idea of a sound-based museum experience. The second and largest part of the exhibition is dedicated to the composer. It is about Nielsen's musical awakening, resistance to convention, moments of crisis, and the reconciliation found in later years. The third and last section, the music, is the culmination of the exhibition. Here we move away from the narrative-driven experience to the pure audio experience. The room is designed with large screens where colored pixels accompany a sampled collection of Nielsen's musical scores. Here visitors are encouraged to discover their feelings and create their own intended imagery. At the same time, the music becomes a wonderful shared landscape. To make the composer's music accessible to wider and younger audiences, we need to break the stereotype that classical music is outdated and only resonates with mature audiences. The museum's educational programs are a great example of how the museum opens to new audiences. The museum offers programs from kindergarten through 10th grade. When we teach, we are equally ambitious on both the subject matter and the children's meeting with culture. We ensure a good meeting between the students and the museum by understanding the students and their motives. To mediate the stories through music, we work with communicative musicality, so we let Nielsen tell his story through the music. The museum allows students to get to know the artist, the world, and themselves better through 5 main methods: co-creation, play and children's culture, slow listening, storytelling, and open question and mindset. We use storytelling and slow listening as stimuli for an open philosophical dialogue where the students can express their thoughts in a safe space. They reflect on whether Nielsen, like themselves, can or should be put into boxes. With communicative musicality in mind, we see great similarities between Nielsen's music and children's play, and the children feel the music and the music guides the playing even more than the spoken word. So, the Carl Nielsen Museum is a musical and sensory space, playful, tactile and inspiring. Moving away from the traditional linear narratives, visitors are invited to piece together the composer's biography by listening and interacting with the exhibits, experiencing music as living force. Thank you.
So hello everybody, and thank you for inviting us. It's very lovely to be here. And I'm happy to present to you the Miffy Museum in Utrecht in the Netherlands. And I have to push the next slide. So the Miffy Museum is like a lot of museums. It's a place of art, it's a place of culture, of knowledge, of inspiring visits, and it's a place of enjoyment, but with a little twist. Because the Miffy Museum is a museum for the youngest of visitors, families with children in the age of 2 to 6 years old, so really little ones. And they're not just children, but they are human beings in the most formative years in their lives. This is the period where they lay the foundations for the rest of their lives, so important times. And this is why we constructed for them a museum with the artwork of Dick Bruna, a famous Dutch children's author, children's bookmaker, an artist, and a graphic designer. And he's made 124 children's books. That's a lot of pictures he drew. And with these enlarged pictures, these enlarged drawings, we constructed a series of rich learning environments in which children can explore and discover. And they immerse themselves while doing so in the rich world of the stories that Dick Bruna created about Miffy and her friends. You see her here, but the world of Miffy resembles so much of their own world. The museum evolves around play because we have this young target group and playing is very important for children. It's not just a pastime, but playing is learning, playing is understanding. Understanding about yourself, about the other, and about the world. So it's very important. And they are driven by a very strong force to learn, which is called curiosity. And they're filled with it. And between the museum and the children and the children's books, we've defined 3 pillars of education to make the museum. And it is playfully learning with art, playfully learning with language, and playfully learning with movement, all important in the development of young children. Now, as children learn with and mostly through the adults that care for them, parental participation is very important in the museum, and we have it throughout the entire museum to stimulate parents to play along. It's not only important for the development of the children, but it's important moments for having a quality time together as a family. Now, of course, it's not only play in the museum. We are a museum about the artwork of Dick Bruna. So in every room, we have a showcase in which we show the original artworks of Dick Bruna that are related to the themes of the room. And children and the adults that accompany them can watch art together. So the adults look from above, and the children look through the peeking hole on the side, which they find because of their curiosity. Now, we love, and need to tell you as well, every showcase is accompanied by an introductory text for the adults about the themed room, so you can learn about Dick Bruna as well if you come and accompany your child. Now, we want to be available and accessible for as many children as possible, also when they are disabled or when they have impairments, or maybe if they're sensitive to stimuli. So we want to offer them a social and physical accessible museum. We want to offer independence, representation, and normalization. Not only in the museum, but also in the programs we offer. And I have a little time, so I can tell you. We have reading on wheels. There is someone in a wheelchair reading stories, so you can get into contact with someone in a wheelchair. We have tours by deaf guides for deaf children or children with hearing impairments, because these children do not need tours, but they do need role models, which is very important for them. And we do reading in many languages, multi-languages, not just for the children who speak those other languages, but it's also very important for the understanding of language, and that you find out that people can speak in other languages as well. Now, we are a museum for children, but not only, because we also cater for the people that cater for the children. So we invite a lot of museums, colleagues from the country. We've had 10 in the past 2 years that come to learn from our experience and our knowledge about education, museum education for young children. We have designers of spatial areas to come and see how you cater for the young children, because the whole world is discovering this new target group for the museum. And so we love to share the information and the knowledge we have. Now, the Miffy Museum is a happy place for children to explore, to discover, to learn, and to develop. And if I may finish with a quote from a British museographer that came to visit us last year, she said, "The Miffy Museum is a place where you can find the extraordinary in the ordinary, and where you can find the extraordinary in yourself." Thank you.
Thank you all for this fantastic panorama. It's a bit a pity that we can't be in the spaces now and discover it, but we try it in this discussion. Martin and Jörg, I like to start with your institutions. They are quite different, but you have one decision in common. You didn't choose the word museum for your institution. And I guess it was a conscious decision that it's not a museum of music or it's not the Museum Stolz, it's the Salon Stolz and the house. Maybe you can tell us a bit more about the quality of this term you choose and what makes the difference or what makes the quality that your institution is named as it is.
Well, I think I explained it a little bit at the presentation that on first hand we thought we would like to have a museum on music, but and especially Hungarian music. But you cannot talk about Hungarian music without talking about European music history because it's the part of the European music history. So this is how we started. Then we started to think about it's all over. It was like 7 years of a project. So this is just very quickly. But then we realized that we should talk about the sound because it's also part of the music. And then we went on and on. You know, it's like the creative process. It's always like that. People come up with new ideas, and then you realize you would need like 20,000 square meters to make the museum. And then we realized let's use different tools, not just the exhibition tools, but the concert, because you cannot talk about music without listening. So we started to focus on doing performing arts, all kind of performing arts. So that this was the second layer. It stepped in, and then we talked about it more, and we decided that we need music education because the education is going to bring these three things together. So when you enter, it doesn't matter if you are professional or non-professional. We are focusing on non-professional for broader audience. So for us, it's the importance that have all genres of music in every day, because all of us listening to music every day, so that's normal. So this is how we started, and then of course it's not a museum anymore. So it's a house with a lot of music. So that was the main idea behind.
Jörg, will you
Yes.
continue with the salon?
I mean, I have to go a little bit back in the history, in our history, when we started with the project, when the city decided to honor Robert Stolz with this museum or house, we realized very soon that there is not really a collection. And there is a stepdaughter from Robert Stolz, but she is something like sitting on all the rest of the collection in Vienna. But we could, of course, cooperate with her that we'll get some of the objects. But then, of course, we thought about that. Also this very special place of the retirement home, that we want to give a lot of life in this place. And so we came up then with a very interactive exhibition, and especially with this dancing room, with this immersive experience. And then when they came up later to the question, because we had, of course, this working name for us, like Robert Stolz Museum, we thought maybe it's like a little bit like you explained. I think we thought in the discussion it's not really maybe the best word like museum now for what we did. We thought maybe we can combine it with something like, and there is this old tradition like music saloons, and so we find that this name fits better to the idea of what the visitors can expect there. The only thing was that we made some maybe small mistakes. Some of the people at the beginning, is just something fun, thought it's a hairdressing room maybe also. So that is something, of course, if you take any new name, you have also a lot of work to explain what it is then.
I ask this question because in the house where I work, we avoided also a bit now the word museum, and because we realized that there are a lot of pictures in the heads of visitors that give us a projection what is a museum, and we are not we don't correspond with this image. So now I like to ask Maria and Mats, you kept the word museum, exhibiting music, and I think you choose also another strategy, how you can do let's say, a biographical museum, but the star is not the person, the star is the music. And of course, you gave answers in your presentations, but what is the key element in your presentation, in your museum, that the music is the star?
Yes. Earlier, we had a Carl Nielsen museum, which was more a traditional, personal museum, you could say, with all his objects and stuff like that. But you know, the things that people know when they talk about Carl Nielsen is his music. It's not so much about him. So the music had to be in the focus. That's also what makes the museum exciting, I think. It's not going to look at every bit of object that he has. So, but the objects are relevant. That's also why I think we call it a museum still. The museums have the collections. The collections are important. They give the authenticity to the place. So we like to keep that word, even though we know that in some people's minds it gives a sense of, oh, this is a bit boring, but we like to keep it, but then present his work in a new way through the music.
Okay. It goes back many years before, in 2000, when we acquired the small collection of items from Maria Callas, personal items. And at that time, it was 2000, the first idea was to create a museum about Maria Callas. But then the collection was really small. And at that time, the team thought that it wasn't enough, so we could make a museum. So the years passed by, and museology expands. New ideas come in museology, and then in 2018-19, we thought, okay, there is a small collection, but still, what do we want to show, to present to people about Maria Callas? And we said, we want to present her voice and her music coming out of her voice. So this is what we do, actually. We say to the visitor, go to the second floor, don't go to the first, because we want you to feel Maria Callas and her music through her voice. So music is there always. And
Yolanda, your museum is not about music, but also about an artistic creation. And what I learned in the documents about your museum was that you did quite a paradigm shift, that it was first more a museum about the artist, and you had more adult audience interested in graphic works of the artist. And now it was a kind of a museum about the topic children are maybe interested in, and now it's a museum for children and with children, and that's quite a huge transformation. Can you say a bit more how you developed this concept, and maybe also how this influences your museum professional work, not only in children project? I think it's really a change of perspective, and you did it. And the visitors came much more afterwards.
All true. So thank you for the question, interesting question. Yes, before the MIF Museum existed, we had the Dick Bruna House. So it was an initiative to showcase the artwork of Dick Bruna for adults. And so to say, if you brought your children, then there were some corners where they could do activities. But Dick Bruna is most famous for his children's books. So in large quantities came the young families, and not so many adults that came to visit and see his artwork. And when they came together, there would be a problem, because the children are loud and they're excited, and the adults want to look at the artworks, and other ways around. If you look at, if you're having fun with your children and other people are saying, can you please calm down? It's annoying for both parties. So we soon found out that this Dick Bruna House concept did not work. or not, at least not in the way that we wanted. So we decided to go with the flow. That was already back in 2009. We decided to go with the flow and turn it into a children's museum, or at least more focused on children. And interesting is that the public never named it the Dick Bruna House. They always called it the Miffy Museum. So if you can't beat them, join them. And so then we started to create, from 2013, we started to create the Miffy Museum, and it was so successful that we became too small within a small period of time. And we got the opportunity to expand, and that's what we did. And then came Corona and all of the problems we had. So we could open as a new Miffy Museum in, when was that? In June 2023. And so the shift is really because the public wanted it. The public had a need for a museum for the youngest of museum visitors, and that's what we did.
Great. I think music is, or an artistic creation is a very universal language. It's not limited by nations or education or religion or whatever. It's quite open. And I like to challenge a bit how you use this potential and where are the limits. And maybe Martin, when I traveled in Budapest, there is one stereotype. These are these happy, I tell it very rude, this happy gypsy music is part of this Hungarian stereotype. And the social or political reality is also that Roma and Sinti live in Hungary. And how can you use this potential of an integrative language, of a music house, also to face these realities?
Well, we already talked about it today, that it's politically quite interesting time, let's say that, in the last years. And music is maybe a little bit less sensitive genre than some others, like theater or film. So in this way, you probably have more space to do things and talk about things through music as well. So this is just, for example, you mentioned, for us, the traditional folk music is quite important because we have a quite long tradition, and it's really goes together with the minorities, Hungarian minorities all around the border. And we have a revival from the 80s of dance culture, which is going together with traditional music as well. So it's a very important issue for us. So in this case, for example, in our new exhibition, it's called The Listen, we are doing. It's focusing on traditional music from all over the world. So at the same time, we can talk about Hungarian traditional music, what's happening, for example, in Serbia, how much we are connected for the music of Balkan music. The Hungarian music and the Balkan music has great relations. And also we can at the same time talk about, for example, Garifuna music, which is African music that traveled to the Caribbeans and then traveled towards the US, New York. And this is, so at the same time you can show the musical background of these different cultures, and at the same time you can talk about other issues like diversity and like migration. And that's one thing, just one example. We could go on and on, like how music is helping. Give you one more. It just came to my mind because we were talking yesterday about your exhibition about North Korean mountains, which sounds pretty interesting for me. But it's, for us, for example, we're now working on a Cuban Days, a small festival. That's not easy because Cuba is a dictatorship. But at the same time, you cannot say that you're not going to present Cuban music, because the Cuban culture's most important part probably is the music. So in a way, we can present Cuban music in the House of Hungarian Music at the same time, and we can also add Hungarian musicians, so they can cooperate, and we have many concerts, and we do the same in the exhibitions as well as the concerts as well, that they work together. So different musicians, they're really keen to do that. At the beginning, when we started to do the institution, we talked with many musicians, and most of the musicians' first question or aim was to have more possibilities to work together with other musicians from all over the world. So we try to help in that.
But may I ask, are there projects that you can work together with Roma groups or school children, or in your house? Can have you programs in this way?
Romani music is very important for us. So and we have a program for outreach program. What we do, we go about right now, I think 20-25 different smaller countryside places where they cannot afford to travel to the House of Music, and we do a program there. It's 5 to 10 times a music educator goes there and do program with them, and after, when it's finished, they come to the House of Music and they have a presentation. Well, let's say they usually have a concert together with some professional musician or music educator. So we do these kind of programs many times. Right now we have a program with other countries that we like to do that and travel it, this music education program, to each country, to the other.
Thank you. Jörg, when I heard Robert Stolz and the Salon Stolz is in an elderly home, then I thought, wow, that's quite a challenge, how to bring young people in such an institution to be interested in Robert Stolz in an elderly home.
Yes, you're right.
But you do it.
I mean, that was also, of course, for us the big challenge at the beginning, because it was a decision by our city. And our first discussion was always about, should we be happy about that, or should be something like sad, or what are the limits then of this project. But we thought, of course, like, let's change it as a challenge in a positive way to see the potential. And the potential, I think, was on both sides. It was on the retirement home, because before there was something like a fence around this retirement home. There were big bushes. It was really something like blocked to the public. And now it's really a live place. So everybody is going that way, crossing there. We have concerts. The old people are coming in the museum, because it's the same time the entrance area to this retirement home, the museum. So there is always traffic and exchange. We make workshops in the rooms with the elder people. So I mean, this is a very positive thing. And on the other side, of course, Robert Stolz itself, that was the reason why we decided for this immersive way also, because but we get also as feedback from a lot of visitors, sometimes first time that they came in contact with classic music, and also sometimes first time that they are dancing as a family, parents also. So I mean, the potential of this immersive experiences is really that the people are very strong focused on the topic, and when they are so strong focused on something and they have also at the same time emotions, and that is what happens there, then they generate something like remembrance. And this is very important, because we all want that, of course, our visitors in best way remember to our museum, to our exhibition, to the music, to the dance. And so I think finally, I have to say, it was a wonderful decision. I never saw a project like that before, like in an elderly home, and this intergenerational potential also between children and something like also the grandchildren and the elder people there is amazing for me.
Thank you. Maria, I just had a look on Slido. There was one question about Hollywood, Maria Callas movie, and I can imagine that it's a challenge to work against or with the stereotypes that people have also from the diva Maria Callas. What is your experience to work with these expectations or reactions, tourists, locals? How do you deal with this?
when the museum opened, before the museum opened, during the museological study, the museological team was very steady to the thought that we're making a museum that will show the personality, that will present the personality of Maria Callas based on what we definitely know, not on speculations. And of course, having the experts of music on what to present, which is the best music part of Maria Callas, let's say. So when the movie came out, the visitors came and they were asking us, is this true about the death of Maria Callas? Is this true about having a baby? And we said back, we don't have a certificate of birth, of death of a baby, so we don't show this to our museum. Okay, it's speculations. And certainly, yes, she was under medicine, but we really don't know the last day of her life. And we are here to present Maria Callas as a whole, as a personality, her art and her technique, why she was famous as an opera singer, and why she was famous as a strong woman. And the rest is for the directors and those who make the scripts.
Yolanda, you spoke about playing as a cultural technique, and I think in your museum the children are the experts and the adults can learn maybe playing with the children. What are your experience maybe to work with the adults in your children museum, or how to influence the adults because they are there with their children?
Well, the children, the adults are the experts. They are the experts of life. So through their experiences, their knowledge, they can help children play, enrich their play, deepen their play, make it more interesting, introduce words, introduce new parts of culture. So the adults are the experts, and we try to sort of move them by stimulating parental participation, move them, help the children along. And as they're doing that, it makes playing a lot more fun. And we hope this extends to the home, because there is a lot of families that do not have the culture of playing together or reading stories together or being together. Usually they're separate worlds. So this is what we hope to convey in the museum, that parents and children find that this is fun to do, and it adds to both of their experiences. So for the development of the children, but also parents are complaining of time, lack of time, busy lives. So in the museum you can have quality time to discover what you like, to discover new words, to discover new topics. So this is what we stimulate. And so how do we work with the adults? Well, we sort of try to stimulate them to play along with the children.
And who is your audience? The adults are, it's quite a broad, all the city society of Utrecht, or is it a special segment of people who like to educate their children in a good way, or can you say?
No, actually, it's about everybody. We do receive a lot of families that are first-time visitors. So they decide, they have young children, so they decide, do we go to the zoo, do we go to the playing ground, or do we go to the Miffy Museum? So they're new to the museum world, most of our visitors. Of course, we have the art lovers that want to introduce their children as well, but most are new to the museum world. So this is one of our target goals, is to introduce young families to the world of museums. And we have an extra goal for that, because Miffy Museum is part of a larger conglomerate of museums. It's called Centraal Museum, it's also on my tag. And the Centraal Museum is an art museum. So contemporary art, modern art, old masters, city history, De Bruyne, of course, and design. And so by slowly introducing them into the world of arts, we hope that when they are 6 and they're sort of done in the world of De Bruyne with the picture books, we hope to introduce them, we want to introduce them to come across the street and visit the art world that we have on show in the Centraal Museum, or another museum for that matter, but we like to make them museum fans. And this is why all of the activities we do in the museum are based on as I always call, museum skills. So following your interest, your curiosity, finding out, exploring. This is what children do, but also what adults do when they go to a museum. You see what you like, you go there, you either read the text or look at the painting. Normally you don't see everything, but you follow your own curiosity and make your own way through the museum. And this is what we do for children as well.
Yeah. Mats, maybe it's when I look on, yes, very last question. If you look back in the developing the exhibition and the museum you refurbished, you did now, what would you say is the biggest learning you did with this work? That music is so present. I know you didn't display the biggest number of artifacts. You decided more for the music. So, is there a learning that you could share from this work?
I really think focusing on the work, the art of Carl Nielsen is important. That it's about, that's what people know of Carl Nielsen, that's his art. So it's important to exhibit that. And exhibiting music also makes you create new thoughts in your minds for the visitors and so on. So I really think this has been a positive experience, and we know that it's not just the usual classical musical fans that go there. Even more, also families, children and so on, can learn a lot from that and the way that Carl Nielsen played his music. There are so many layers in that, so I think focusing on the music has made some really new thoughts in our heads and in the visitors' heads, so that was the right choice, definitely.
Thank you. I think this evening we have all the chance to listen to music live, and we will do it. Thank you so much for our panelists. Please applause.
Ladies and gentlemen, great thanks for keeping along with the schedule. Now we are moving on to the last coffee break today. And I have an announcement that for the evening, first comes the dinner, and then at 8 p.m. we will start the concert. Probably you will hear in the space of the opera some musical information that it's incoming, so you can expect that. So we're starting at 8 p.m. I wish you a wonderful coffee break, and we will see each other in 20 minutes.